putting me until I got to the jail.
But where?
In my bra. In my bra.
Wait a minute. Are you really you're gonna sit here and tell us that someone put Suboxone, fentanyl, and crack cocaine in your purse and bra and you didn't know it?
Yeah. Why would I lie? Anything I've ever done in my life, I've always taken responsibility for.
Okay. I guess why would you lie? Like this is this a first? This might, I don't know, when you think you've seen it all. Guys, don't drink the water in Connecticut. That's kind of like what we've learned from these Connecticut parole hearings, because they all have, not they all, but so many of them, they just have something in common. It's just there's something going on. But yeah, she was arrested on 6/10 of 2020, possession with intent to sell, but according to her, all just a big misunderstanding, and facing a 27-month sentence, but a maximum release date of 2026. Let's see how the parole board handles this pillar of honesty. Let's jump in.
Kiashia Garcia, 302-487.
Thank you. This hearing is being conducted in consideration of the parole application for Kiashia Garcia, inmate number 302-487. She is serving a sentence of 7 years, suspended after 27 months, with 3 years probation for possession with intent and failure to appear first. As of today, records reflect parole eligibility date of November 28th, 2024. There is no victim in the case. There is an offender accountability plan. It is reviewed and shows she has completed no programs on the OAP at this time. Utilizing Williams risk needs assessment, they've been overall scoring recidivity in moderate range. Ms. Garcia, this is your chance to tell the board why you believe you should be granted parole. You may begin.
Well, before I got in here, I didn't realize, how depressed and everything that was going on. I was struggling with coming in here and the whole situation with the case and everything. And when I got in here, I kind of realized that, everything that I was going through wasn't what I wanted, and it wasn't what was supposed to be happening in my life. I had got into car accidents and all this stuff was going on, abusive relationships. So things were not what I was used to doing. And now that I'm here and I've gone through the situation and got time to think about everything that's going on and where I want to be, I'm now able to say that I can accept the help that I need, to help that I never asked for, and, move forward with my life and do the things that I need to do as far as being with my children and my granddaughter and helping my daughter open up her business and get my life together with what I want to do. If I want to go back to school or get a job, which I'm always good at doing, and be a member of society like I should be. And that's where I'm at today, so.
Okay. Thank you for your statement, Ms. Garcia. We do have questions for you.
Yeah.
We're done. We'll deliberate amongst ourselves and give you our decision.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, listen, I don't want to retry this case. We're not judges or a jury, but I understand that you deny you were selling drugs. You say you gave a friend a ride and there were drugs in the car. You didn't know they had drugs.
Yes. I didn't do what I came in here for. I wasn't the one doing what I was charged for.
Okay, but you did have drugs.
Yeah. But it wasn't, what happened was the guy that I was dating, I was in my room sleeping, and he had asked me to bring a car so that he could take the car, and he would drop me back off. And when I kept denying that I didn't want to go because I was tired and I wanted to sleep, he kept asking me to bring the car, bring the car, bring the car. So I finally got up and brought him the car. I didn't know the drugs were in the car. So then he went and did what he was doing, and I was sitting in the car. One of the people that was standing in front of the store, I know her through my foster sister. So she was crying. So I asked her what was going on with her. So I told her, come in the car and we'll take a drive around. Yeah. And I'll talk to her. So when I dropped her back off, he asked me to hold some money for him. So I thought that he was putting money. I don't know what he put in me until I got to the jail.
But where?
In my bra. In my bra.
Wait a minute. Are you really you're gonna sit here and tell us that someone put Suboxone, fentanyl, and crack cocaine in your purse and bra, and you didn't know it?
Yeah, why would I lie? Anything I've ever done in my life, I've always taken responsibility for.
Well, if someone said to me, I need to stash something in your purse and your bra, I think I would question what it was.
If I'm in a relationship with the guy, I didn't think anything of it, honestly.
Maybe you should know who you're in a relationship with then. Maybe that's the bigger issue.
I agree.
I mean, your story, I don't believe it. I'm just going to be honest with you. I don't believe your story. That's crazy to me. 45 baggies of fentanyl, 45 baggies of fentanyl, 8 strips of Suboxone, and 9 baggies of crack cocaine, and you had no idea.
I told you I was sleeping. I was tired. I wasn't paying attention. Should I have been? Yes, ma'am. I should have been, but I wasn't. And that's my fault. That's my responsibility to that.
The police report says they saw you selling drugs.
No, they didn't see me. That's what he said. I wouldn't lie. I don't have a reason to lie. Any trouble I've ever gotten into, I've taken responsibility for. I've always been accountable for what I do. You asked me, and I'm telling you what happened. Should I have known? Should I have paid attention? Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's just such a crazy story. I don't believe it. Okay, so why don't you tell us, you were using drugs. What were you using?
Fentanyl.
Okay, but you claim you didn't know you were using fentanyl, right?
No, I smoke marijuana. That's what I've done.
Did you have a medical marijuana card?
No.
Okay, so you're buying your marijuana illegally and it's laced with fentanyl.
Yes.
Are you catching my drift here? Do you understand what I'm getting at?
Totally. I'm not saying what I'm saying doesn't make sense or doesn't sound like what you think it should sound like. I'm telling you what happened and what was going on. I don't have any reason to make it seem any less or any more than what it is. It was what it was. I had been paying attention and done it differently. Yes, you're right. You're completely right about that.
Yeah, I mean, you're buying fentanyl on the street, basically, is what you're doing, right?
Basically, yes.
Yeah. What is, so now we've created a bigger issue for you, right? Because now you became addicted to fentanyl. What's your relapse prevention plan?
Well, before I came in and I realized that something was going on more than just the marijuana, I put myself in a cleanup, a program that you get clean and then they send you to another program.
A detox?
So you can do, yeah. So you can do, and then after that you go into a program to do a program. And I winded up catching a double seizure. So I had to reapply. And by that time, the bondsman came and got me and I winded up coming in here.
Okay. So I understand that you have very little support. Are you still with that boyfriend?
No.
Probably a good idea.
Not with them, no connection, no contact, nothing.
And your co-defendant, Jasmine, who was she to you? Was she a friend of yours?
Jasmine, I don't have a co-defendant.
Well, the person that they thought you were selling drugs to, she was there.
That's my foster sister's friend.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you don't need to have contact with her?
No, she passed away. She passed away even before the case started.
Uh-huh. Okay. Well, I mean, I didn't verify that. I don't have any verification of that. But anyway, my point initially was it appears to me that you have very little positive supports in your life, which means you need to build them, right? And how do we go about getting positive supports?
Well, I have a friend that's a positive support system in my life. She doesn't do drugs. She works, stays home. My kids are grown, so they're positive, and I choose to self-help. Like if I can read something, if I can talk to somebody, then that's what I do. If I have to do a program, I'll do that too. But I'm determined to stay on a positive path.
Yeah. What about supports in the recovery community?
I can do that as well. Well, I tried to do the drug program, so I'm trying to reach out to it.
Yeah.
So I'm not so, I don't have a lot of knowledge about that, but.
Yeah, what I mean is someone you can talk to, someone who knows what you're going through. And if you feel like you're going to relapse or you do relapse, someone to call.
Right.
Why haven't you taken any programs yet?
I have never taken drugs in my whole entire life besides smoking marijuana. It's not a lane that I'm prone to or that I've ran to with any situations I've had in my life. it's something that happened in
Yeah.
a relationship, and, you know, as soon as I realized what was going on and what I should have been doing, it was already too late because I had to come in here, you know?
But you did do drugs because you said you were smoking marijuana daily. You were using that for some reason.
Well, yeah, it helps. It was helped me through the day, but yeah. But as far as like other drugs and no, that's not
Right,
something that I've
Right,
done.
but you,
on
I
a
mean, you
regular
became addicted, obviously, because you were getting the marijuana in the wrong way. So,
Right.
so it can happen, you know, I mean, you're proof that
Absolutely.
it can happen.
Absolutely. I see the ripple effect it had in my life.
Right.
Up
I mean,
until
you've
now.
had 4 successful community releases, so you know how to be on probation or whatever type of release
Right.
it was. You know how to do it correctly. You have to use the support. Anything can better us, right? Any
Right.
help can
Absolutely.
be beneficial. Where do
Absolutely.
you stand with your driver's license? Because it was suspended. Why was it suspended?
I think it was because of parking tickets I had, so I had paid them and reinstated it, and then now my license is good. I had to pay it like almost $800. I had a
You
parking
paid-
ticket.
So after this offense occurred, you paid all that?
Well, after the offense occurred is when I found out, yeah. And I had to pay to get a case opened, then pay the ticket, and then pay for the license to be reinstated.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. $800.
Was working.
Wow. That's a lot
Yeah,
of money.
about that. Yeah.
What were you doing for work at that time?
Well, I was a CNA, and then before I came in, I started working housekeeping because I couldn't do the manual labor because of my neck. I have a
Okay.
broken disc in my neck, so I
Yeah,
couldn't do the
no.
lifting anymore.
And you had $800 cash sitting around to pay off car fine?
No, I had to save it. I had to save it.
Okay. All right. Okay.
I had
So
to
do you
save
plan
it. I
to
did
work?
it piece by piece. Yeah.
Okay, got it. You plan to
Absolutely.
work now? Are you able to work?
Yes.
Are you working in the facility right now?
Yes. I work in
What do you-
commissary.
You have a commissary job? How long have you been doing that?
I believe since April or May.
Okay. Are you going to meetings there?
No. I signed up for tier 2,
Yeah.
but they haven't put me in yet.
Well, it's on your OAP, right?
I believe it is.
What else? Do you have a OAP programs? What are they?
Okay, good intentions, bad choices, a job, and addiction.
Okay, so you've covered one thing
Oh,
on your
see, I didn't
OAP.
Yeah, I didn't even know about the good intentions. I
You
didn't know
signed the
about that.
OAP.
Yeah, but they didn't tell me what it was. They just told me I had to do tier 2 and work and some schooling thing, but
Yeah, and if you did tier
Yes.
2, that would be sufficient for good intentions, bad choices as well.
okay.
So yeah, I certainly hope you're able to get into that program. Okay, and you want to go to a halfway house?
Yes.
Where do you go from there?
Well, I was planning on saving up to get a place.
Okay, on your own.
Yes.
Okay. All righty, thank you for speaking with me. I'm going to turn over to my colleague, Mr. Szyszowskis.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, I don't have a lot of questions. My colleague covered most of what I was going to ask. I do want to give you an opportunity to talk about how you've changed since you've been incarcerated. So you could talk about that a little bit. I'm concerned about the lack of programming. So, have you gone to any meetings? Have you done anything else that we're not aware of that you could talk about?
Well, at home, like I told you, I got into that detox and then to the program. So I can't say I knew I had a problem then because I'm not a person who does hard drugs like that. I mean, I know marijuana to use a drug, but to me, it's not like those other drugs. So I didn't even realize that it was an issue of that sort. So when I did the detox and the programming, and then I got taken by bond and then came in here, that's when I realized, you know what? Maybe I should be doing something else. So I do the programs that will come in the building. They would have like one social worker or counselor will come and do a program in the middle of the building, do those programs. But I would write for other ones and I haven't got responses on them. So I'm not too sure how you would push yourself to get in there, but I do write the request to get into the programs. But I didn't know about, NA and all that until about a month ago.
So
I don't
The
really talk
detox-
to everybody.
the detox and then the program, subsequent program after that, just so I understand that correctly, did that take place after you were arrested, but before you were incarcerated?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, it did.
Can I interrupt? I'm sorry. Where was that program?
The detox
Both.
in New London, the detox one was in New London, and then the program was in Groton.
What was the name of the
I
facility?
think it was CBH.
CBH or SCAD?
I think it was CBH. SCAD was where I did the detox, and then the CBH was the program in Groton.
Okay.
CBH and Grad.
I think it's CBH.
Okay.
The
Stonington
program's right here, and
Institute?
then you go across the street.
Was it Stonington Institute?
I'm not sure. It could
Sorry.
be.
Okay.
I
Sorry.
know because I
That's
think
okay.
about
I'm trying
Yeah,
to
I'm not sure.
appreciate it.
what it's called.
All right.
So you've been clean since then, since that detox,
Yes.
and since that program, is that what you're saying to us today?
Well, yeah. Until when the lawyer told me that I was coming in, and then I started smoking weed again. I was depressed. I didn't even know how depressed I was, but I was depressed. And I was
But at that-
working and
That marijuana that you're talking about at that point do you think that had fentanyl in it again?
yeah, because the lady told me when I did the urine that it was in the urine. And I said, I don't know how, because I haven't done it.
Okay.
And she said that it was.
So that's the only way you know is because when you took the drug test.
Took the urine, yeah.
All right, Madam Chair, thank you very much. Those are all the questions I have.
Thank you. Ms. Palmer.
I have no follow-up questions.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Give us a few minutes to discuss your case and we'll give you our decision shortly.
Okay.
All right. So here's where I stand. Whether we believe the explanation or not, she got the drugs in her system, right? And we're here. She was convicted. I wish she could have taken the tier 2 program or some program, to be honest, because I'm just not sure it's going to be addressed out in the community. She seems pretty confident that she's just not going to use anymore. But after she did detox and treatment, she did. So it's a concern. Go ahead.
Could I ask one?
Yeah, go ahead.
So Ms. Garcia, when you were in federal prison, did you do drug treatment in federal prison?
Yeah,
Which program did you do?
I did the in programming. You do the program inside and then you come out.
So did you do the
It's-
500 hour? Did you do the 500-hour program?
You live inside the program, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
that's like a tier 4.
Yeah. When was that though?
So she was in federal custody in 2008
2008. Yeah.
for 6 years.
Yeah,
And then you came out to 5 years federal probation.
yes.
And when you were on federal probation, did they have you go to drug treatment?
No. I
No?
went in the beginning, they had like a release thing and you go maybe, I don't remember, a couple of months, but after you give them clean urines, they did. I worked 2 and 3 jobs.
Okay, so when you were in the
Yeah.
halfway house, did they have you doing drug treatment?
As long as you were in the building, you would do a class for an hour. Yeah,
So we did a tier 4 inpatient for marijuana with the feds.
That's what that program is.
No, right, but do you understand what I'm saying? When
I
I do
do.
marijuana use? So I feel like we have an ongoing issue here, so, I don't know. I mean, we could try to
Well,
get her into the tier 2.
if I could tell you, in the federal prison, as long
Yeah.
as you had a drug case, they would allow you to take the program. You didn't actually
Okay.
have to be using the drugs.
Okay, thank you. We could have her do the tier 2 program and come back, or send her out and hope that she gets treatment in the community. I mean,
if you could see, I've been on probation and I've
so
always
I'm gonna
followed
ask
the
you
rules.
now not to interrupt us anymore, please. You can
Oh,
listen to our
sorry.
deliberation, but please don't interrupt.
My apologies.
Yeah, I mean, she does well in the community. I'll give her that, but she comes back.
I don't see any drug violence in any of this.
No. So this is, what we call high risk, low stakes,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
There's a good chance that the behavior will continue, but is she gonna hurt anybody? Well, I don't know. If you're selling drugs with fentanyl, maybe, but, what are your thoughts, Mr. Stauskas?
I really, like you said, I struggle with this, drug treatment. And that's why I was asking those questions. And, I hear that she's taken some other programs in the past, but she seems to just relapse every time after, even after this latest one. So,
Yeah, I think I'd like to have her do the tier 2 program and come back and see us. Ms. Palmieri,
So she scores out of 4 for her substance abuse. I am, I see it a positive thing, like that prior to coming into the facility, prior to her sentencing, she did put herself in a detox.
yeah,
And from her own report, she had a medical condition which seems to have prevented her from participating in the follow-up inpatient piece to that. So I do believe that Ms. Garcia knows how to address her drug problem.
Mhm.
She knows that she has an issue. She knows when she needs to go to treatment
yeah.
to address that drug problem. So I am, I do see that as a positive to her release.
Mhm.
You know-
But she used after doing that program.
She did.
Yeah.
I just, based on all that she's already done.
Right.
Tier 2 is kind of, it's not a lot.
But it could be mindset too. Like she's of the mindset that she's never used drugs. She's going to go out there and never use them again. So, the relapse prevention plan is weak here. So maybe you gain something about a relapse prevention plan and support in the tier 2 program.
Yeah.
I don't know.
She definitely would benefit from it, aside from what we decide today, but when she gets back in the community, like a C-car.
Right.
That's,
So I don't think she thinks she needs that.
yeah, well,
But that's
that's
the problem.
where the community support comes in.
Yeah.
Through those programs,
Right.
even more.
how long is this tier 2?
3 months,
Yeah, I think it's 12.
It's 12 weeks.
sessions.
right? Once a week. So 3 months. Yeah.
And there, I would account for at least another week or so, because there's usually,
Yeah. I would do like a 4
they
month.
regularly give it
Yeah.
so
Right.
closer to 4.
I don't know. I would do a 4 month right here. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I feel comfortable with that.
Okay.
That she completes.
We're
Tier
not
2.
covered November, December, January, February. Are you okay with that?
I am
February. Okay. Inadequate programs. And offender change. What are your thoughts?
Yes.
Okay. No tickets, so that's good. Yeah.
Her record is minimal.
How do you say your last name?
Garcia,
I'm sorry. I meant to say your first name. How do you say your first name?
Kiashia.
Kiashia, okay. All right, in the matter of Kiashia Garcia, inmate number 302487, I'll move to deny parole at this time, but rehear the case in February of 2025, 4 months from now. Denials for the following reasons: inadequate program participation and inadequate evidence of offender change. We're going to recommend that Ms. Garcia participate in an addiction services program. She is supposed to be starting tier 2, I believe, but we won't specify that. They could put her in whichever one they'd like, and receive no disciplinary reports prior to her next hearing. Anything further? Is there a second motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We'll see you in 4 months, ma'am. Okay, good luck to you. This will help you get into the program.
This
Yeah.
concludes the hearing for Kiashia Garcia, inmate 30287.
Okay, I mean, this was an interesting case in the sense that when I look at the records that Richard finds, she actually doesn't have much. Now, keep in mind, Connecticut only gives us the last 10 years. And apparently she had a federal stint, which we also don't have any records of. But what we do have from Sir Richard is, let's see, December 24th, 2019. Charged with 2 counts of second-degree failure to appear. July 28, 2019, charged with driving with a suspended license and not having headlamps. June 10th, 2020. And keep in mind, when she got pulled over there, she did not get a DUI. June 10th, 2020, she has her possession with intent to sell. Now, she got 7 years, suspended after 27 months, probation 3 years. But then I think she has a failure to appear, which is maybe what triggered that full sentence. But then she has okay. So then I'm sorry, no, that's right. That's 2020. And again on 12/13/2023, she has the sale of narcotics. So she has the sale back to back. Now it's interesting. I don't, of course, buy it for 1 second that she didn't know that the stuff was in her clothes. But it also wouldn't surprise me that she's not the dealer. She just doesn't seem. She just doesn't seem to be bright enough, sophisticated enough, maybe I should say, to be dealing at any level to really get these type of sentences. I wouldn't be surprised if she took the charge for someone. That person made her put the stuff in there, and it just wouldn't surprise me if that was it. I could be completely wrong. I've been wrong a million times. I'm just guessing. Actually, no, I'm only speculating on a situation like this. But what was funny about this hearing, how she straight up says with a straight face, I don't have it, and she might not have a drug problem. Well, actually, so she did test positive for it, and she was claimed, so she does have a problem, actually, I have to say. But it's just interesting that it's not in her record here that I just read, but she's denying that she has any type of problem. She has the positive test.
Are you ready for
Yes, ma'am. Of course, the funniest part about it is when she's like, I'm smoking marijuana, that's all I do. And the parole, what's her name, says, do you have a medical marijuana card? And it's like the same thing when it's like when the felons are caught carrying a weapon or actually shooting someone, and she's like, did you ever train to shoot the gun? I just I don't know. It's just, anyways, now she was about to walk out of that room, and it was a good thing that she didn't, because we have seen cases where people have stormed out of the room and the result isn't in their best interest. And maybe we can go and jump in to a case just like that.
Clemens, number 139105. He is serving a sentence of 12 years and 8 years of special parole for home invasion, burglary first, and robbery first. As of today, records reflect a parole eligibility date of February 12th of 25 at 85%. There is no victim input in this case. There is an offender accountability plan for this offender. It has been reviewed and shows that the offender has completed voices, domestic violence, good intentions, bad choices, and embracing fatherhood. Utilizing the statewide collaborative offender risk evaluation system, the offender's overall score falls within the high range of risk for recidivism. Mr. Clemens, this is your opportunity to express to the board why you believe you should be granted parole. You may begin, sir.
Yes, I take accountability for my actions, and due to the process, since the time I've been incarcerated, I use my time wisely to do programs and help other inmates. And I'm trying to get back home to my family and my kids.
Thank you, Mr. Clemens. We appreciate that short opening statement. We're going to take turns asking questions of you, and then we will discuss your case, and you'll have our decision this morning. Are you ready to proceed?
Yes, ma'am.
So you're right. You've taken some good programs, and you've had some behavior problems.
Yes, ma'am.
So we need to unpack some of that and understand what's going on.
Yes, ma'am.
So why did you commit this crime?
I was on medications and everything, and I hold in my emotions a lot, and then I just react.
Okay, I'm not really sure that makes sense. You and your co-defendant pushed your way into an apartment with what appeared to be handguns, You took cell phones and flat screen TVs and fled. Why did you do this?
I just, like I said, I was on medication and everything, and I just did it out of impulse. So I take my responsibility for what I did. I can't speak for nobody else, ma'am. I admit what
With
I
impulse. Okay, so we got that much. So you've completed the Voices program.
did. Yes, ma'am.
Did you get anything out of that?
Yes, ma'am. I learned that. Go ahead, ma'am. Go ahead.
Tell us what you learned.
I learned how to now basically and channel my thoughts and everything more, and learn how to talk with people and voices. That's what they teach you.
No,
They
really, Voices is about the impact that your actions have on other people and,
Yes.
and the different ways that crime victims suffer.
Right, but this is what I'm trying to tell you, that I had to learn how to talk with people and take responsibilities for my actions
Okay, that sounds a little bit more like good intention.
Yeah, so, ma'am, see, when how they did it with the jail I was at is how I'm trying to explain to you.
So you didn't speak at sentencing.
No.
And you failed to include any mention in your opening statement by way of an apology to the victims you harmed. So is there something that you might want to say to the people you terrorized by breaking into their home?
Yes, ma'am. I want to apologize to the victims for what I caused them and their families. That wasn't my intentions, and I hope that one day they can forgive me and I can make up for what I done to them.
Well, the best way to do that is live your life the right way going forward. But what do you think you put the victims through?
A lot of trauma, more physical, more mentally than anything, because they got to live with what I did to them and their family as well.
The fear of not being safe in their own home?
Yes, ma'am.
You probably put them to some financial expenses.
Yes, ma'am. That too. It's a lot that goes into it. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm trying to unpack with you, Mr. Clemens. The financial impact, they probably got security systems and cameras, put bars on the windows, added locks to the doors.
Yes, ma'am.
That all costs a lot of money.
Yes, ma'am. I understand
just to try to feel safe. And they might have chosen to move.
Yes, ma'am.
Live somewhere else where they didn't have those memories. Did you know these people?
Not really, no, ma'am.
Okay, so now they have the added terror of any stranger might want to cause them this kind of harm.
Yes, ma'am.
So talk to me about your DRs. You've gotten 8 of them. And 3 or 4 of them were for threatening. Why are you unable to control yourself there in the facility?
Well, first of all, I was on mental health medications. They took me off my medications, and I was trying to do my best without the medications. I would go and talk with the caseworkers, COs that I knew, and just the individuals where the honest officers kept provoking me, and I went I did all the chain of commands, and it didn't work. So
okay.
I reacted, and I admit to my crime. I admit to my tickets that yes, I did what they said I did. I'm not gonna lie. If I did something, I admit to it.
So your reason for threatening the COs is because they provoked you.
Yeah, well, these officers did, and it was already written that they had problems with me. I had issues with them. And I admit to that what I did.
You had issues with them, or they had issues with you?
They had issues with me. Right now, I've been in this jail here. I was in this jail before. I had never had no tickets in the 5 years I was here. I had no tickets until I left this jail, ma'am. And when I got to the other jail, I was doing good. Good. And
well, you haven't had a DR since December.
December 8th, when I came here.
Okay. So without getting into any details,
Mhm.
are you taking responsibility for your mental health needs now?
Yes, ma'am. I was doing that in the first place, ma'am. When I got sentenced, I was told I needed mental health.
Okay,
and-
okay.
Okay.
You have a right to your privacy, so I
Yes,
don't
ma'am.
want
Yes,
to
ma'am.
put
Yes,
too much
yes, so
out there in
yes,
the
yes,
public
ma'am.
domain.
Yes, ma'am.
So here's what I have, Mr. Clemens. You're 57.
Yes, ma'am.
This is your 6th period of incarceration greater than a year. And your eligibility date is not until February, and then your end of sentence is October.
Yes, ma'am.
And you have 8 years of special parole to follow,
Yes,
which I
ma'am.
think is appropriate.
Yes,
And you
ma'am.
have 5 years on the state's deadly weapon offender registry.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So what we're looking at is an 8-month difference between you going out to discretionary parole before you start 8 years of special parole, or you going out end of sentence to your special parole. That's so, keep that in mind. We're talking about 8 months.
Well,
different.
hold me. I don't understand. Can you say what you just said again? You said,
Let me try again.
yes.
You're an 85% designated offender, so
Yes,
you cannot go out until the middle of February
Yes, ma'am.
at 85%. But your end of sentence is the middle of October, and I'm
Okay.
sure you'll earn more days off of that.
Yes, ma'am.
So what we're trying to decide today is about that 8-month period and whether you're suitable to go out early and then begin your 8 years of special parole at end of sentence.
Yes, ma'am.
So I just want you to keep that perspective that we're
Yes,
talking, about 8 months, because you've already done a long period of time. You mentioned when interviewed by Officer McLeasy that your high risk is your temper.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And I see that you have not yet taken anger management. Do you think that could be helpful to you?
Yes.
I agree. I agree
Yes,
fully.
ma'am.
Because if you had that ability to regulate your emotions and be in charge of your feelings before you act, then maybe you wouldn't be getting threatening tickets and
Yes, ma'am.
making poor choices out in the community, and violating supervision. So I'm going to encourage you to ask the counselors there to put you on the wait list for anger management.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Thanks for talking with me, Mr. Clemens. I'm going to pass the opportunity on to my colleague, Mr. Szauskas.
Hi, good morning.
Morning, sir.
So, yeah, I have some questions about the tickets also. So you got to imagine, we read all of your reports.
I understand.
And do you recall, I know you said that you were going through a difficult time when this happened in the beginning of December, but do you recall what you said, the things that you said?
Yes, sir.
Do you still feel that way?
No, sir.
Okay. So, but you do recall what the threats, they're very serious.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I understand that you had issues with them. And I agree with my colleague that you can probably learn in anger management class on some tools to be able to when you deal with that situation, when you have an issue with someone and you feel your temper. We've all been in that situation, right?
Yes,
And you
sir.
start to feel threatened, you start to feel disrespected, upset. And then how you react to that is what the difference is, right?
Yes,
So
sir.
what you did here, clearly was not appropriate the way you reacted to that,
Yes, sir.
What could you have done differently?
Well, sir, let me, excuse me, if I may interject, is that I went and I tried to speak with individuals that I know, officers, about the situation. They go and talk to me, but then you come and target me again. So after I already done tried to, if you like, say, if I'm in the situation, I'll come and I'll speak with you, right? You say, okay, so now I'm all right. But then soon as you leave me, that person comes back and targets me. So now you put me back where I was at in the first place. So now I don't have no one to talk to. So I just explode.
Yeah.
And I admit that. That's why I said all my tickets, if you see, I pled guilty. Because if I did something, I admit to what I do, sir.
Mhm.
And then I tried I asked for help. And I try to go look for help. But then I see that I don't. Then I don't know, because I never learned how to basically like really talk with people, but I learned how to talk with people to a certain extent. But then if I feel like I have nobody to basically, how you say, I'm not like I don't know how to put it, that I don't like trust a lot of people because how I grew up. But those that I do try to trust, if you help me, then you walk away. Now my support system is gone, but then that same person will come and attack me. So I was taught either fight or flight, and that's all I know. I know how to fight. I never learned how to flight.
All right. Well, you have to learn a better way to deal with difficult situations. This is not going to be the last difficult situation that you have in your life, and you cannot react in that way, sir, because the things that you said there are, you're making threats specifically about what you're going to do when you get out. And now here we are having to decide, right, if you should leave. And those statements are jumping out about things that you said. So it's concerning. You understand?
I understand.
It starts to make a public safety issue. And I hear what you're saying and your point of view and what happened, and I appreciate your explanation for that. You do have to work on yourself and find a way to address those uncomfortable situations that you found yourself in without getting to this point, okay?
Yes, sir.
And anger management will probably be the right place to tackle that. Let's talk about your release plan. You talked about your friend, Mac Young. That's someone that you met. That's someone that you met in when you're incarcerated, right, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right. Can you talk about? You say that he's going to try to help you get a job.
Yes.
Can you talk about what kind of jobs you think you can do when you get out?
I can do anything, but the main thing I want to do, I told them right now. They said they already have a job for me lined up at Hartford Hospital. He works with the commissioner and the mayor of Hartford with community outreach and stuff like that.
Okay. He was incarcerated with you, so I'm going to make
Yes.
I'm going to make the assumption that he has a criminal record. So you just keep that in mind, that you're going to have to talk to your parole officer and work that situation out.
I understand.
Okay, because I did read at one point in some of the documentation, I know you asked for a halfway house in Hartford to try to stay away from Bridgeport, which is a good idea, sir. But living with him and his wife, while you're his mother, I'm sorry, while you're on special parole, that could be an issue. So just need to think about your release plan and what's realistic. And I'm sure that the organization that he's working with, they sound like they have resources that they can probably help you.
Mm-hmm.
But you living with him and you.
No, sir. I'm not gonna live with him. I told them that I want to go to a halfway house so I'll be able to work, get work, make my own money. But I don't want to go to the same. I was taught not the same people, places, and things.
Right.
Bridgeport is the same people and things where I did all my stuff. I don't want that life no more, sir. So the only place I know is where I got a support system, which is Mr. Young and his mother.
It sounds like he's doing very good things. And
yes,
so,
I talk to them every day and everything. They make sure I call. If I don't call, they call up here to have me call to check on me. I don't. And then I have my sons and my daughter, and I got grandkids, and that's my support system. Mainly is my son.
Mm-hmm. Where is he?
So
now?
He's not even in Bridgeport no more, but he's in Connecticut.
Okay.
And he's in he said that he wanted to be for the thing, but I gave him the site thingy that y'all gave. But he said that he don't know if his phone could do that. But he said that y'all can call him, and he's my support system, my son, and all that.
Yeah, it's important to separate yourself from the past and the things that happened when you eventually when you got to make a departure from what happened in the past, from like you said, the people, places, and things, and you start new, fresh with people that support you.
Yes, and also, sir, I want to interject to you too. I also told the pro lady that I want mental health and put on meds. So they just recently put me on that stuff here. Yeah, so because I know that I need for mental health, and I asked them if when I told you that I want to do programs if I can out there as well as follow up. Now I'm gonna go try to find places like that anyway, because I refuse to come back into the institution and be another statistic. I'm 57 years old. I've been doing this all my life.
Okay. The only other question I had was just about you haven't been successful in the past on community release, you know? So you've had trouble completing like probation and things like that.
No, sir. I always completed probation. I never had trouble with probation.
Okay.
I never had probation. Well, all my probation, my officer tell you, if they tell me to be there at a certain time, if you say 9 o'clock, I'm there at 8:45. I always did probation. I did all the programs they told me to do. I did successfully on probation. I never violated probation or nothing like that. And I came back for a violation.
Mr. Clemens, you had convictions for violation of probation in 2008 and 2012.
2008, 2012?
Yep.
No.
So and that's
I don't
fine.
know. I never was told that.
My question, sir, what I was trying to get to is that, like, considering what I'm looking at your paperwork from the
Yes,
past, what's your plan to be able to successfully complete parole? You have 8 years of special parole. That's a long time, sir. They're going to be, you're going to be involved with parole officers for a long time.
They can put a monitor bracelet on me for all I care, sir. I just want to go home and be successful. I'm 57 years old, sir. I don't got no more time to be sitting in jail, and I have basically no family. All I have is my kids and grandkids. I have no parents, none of that. I want to go out there and be successful. I want to work. I want to live the rest of my life that I got.
Okay. All right. That's it, Madam Chair, for me. Thank you for answering my question, sir.
Thank you.
Good luck to you.
Mr. Sosowskis. Chance?
So I just have one thing to sort of stress with you. You were asked to identify a high-risk situation for you. And you said individuals from your past, and you cannot go back to Bridgeport because of your temper, okay? And you said you need to learn more control
Yes,
and
ma'am.
compromise.
Yes, ma'am.
And you said how you would do that is by going to programs and getting your mental health treatment.
Yes, ma'am.
So my two colleagues mentioned anger management,
Yes, ma'am.
which I feel you need to start before you go back in the community. I just want to emphasize that to you. So I think when you leave that chair today, okay, you need to make sure you complete anger management. Okay, because that would be going by your own words of addressing that high-risk situation that you have. And it's probably part of the reason why you violated your probation 3 times. Okay? All right, so good luck.
All right, thank you, Ms. Chance. Mr. Clemens, give us just a few minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So as I pointed out to Mr. Clemens, we're talking about an 8-month difference between his eligibility and his end of sentence. While he's done some positive programs, there are additional programs that he could benefit from, as well as developing a release plan that includes a plan for his mental health needs out in the community. He does have 8 years of special parole to follow, and I would suggest that we set those conditions today. Mr. Sosowskis.
Yeah, I agree, Madam Chair. He's had some disciplinary problems while he's been incarcerated, and not a lot of time has passed since that's happened. He's
Right.
not taken the programming to address that issue, and I think he could benefit from anger management and some more time. I do recognize that he has done some programming and has expressed his willingness today to be a better person in the future.
I just want to clarify, his end of sentence is 11/30/26, not 25.
Okay. Yes.
I just want to make sure we're clear on that.
And
Thank you.
eligibility is,
Yes.
yes, okay.
All right. Thank you for that. My mistake. Ms. Chance?
So I agree. I do think Mr. Clemens need to complete active management. It was a big issue for him in terms of all of the charges that he had. And I would like to see him really write out a really good release plan that's going to support what he needs to do.
Okay. So I would amend this conversation to say I'd like to bring Mr. Clemens back in a year, October of 2025, potentially
I'm gonna
give
do my
him,
time. No,
to potentially give him a head start on special parole, with a year. He doesn't need 2 years to do anger management, improve his behavior in the facility. So are you interested in that?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Okay. And then if he chooses not to participate, that's his choice. So the denial reasons I have are largely static, criminal history and nature and circumstance. I'm going to reflect for the record that Mr. Clemens has left the hearing prior to the panel issuing our decision. So I heard his objection to being reheard, so I will retract the suggestion that we rehear him based on the behavior that we're seeing. So I have criminal history, nature and circumstance, offense on probation and for institutional adjustment. Are you all okay with not rehearing him?
I was at the beginning, but would have been willing to bring him back in a year if he.
Right, but he just made sure that he didn't want that.
Yeah, Mr. Clemens did state that he wants to do his time. That's what his statement just was there.
Yes.
So I'm
Okay.
okay with the straight denial.
All right, so we're going to straight deny, and here are the conditions I'm going to recommend for special parole. Let me know if you'd like to add anything. Mental health evaluation treatment is deemed necessary, halfway house placement, no contact with co-defendant Lamar Howell, no contact with victims AA, JA, CT, and anger management. Want to add anything?
You say alcohol?
I did not.
Okay.
I did not have that.
I did not have that either.
I don't have alcohol in mine.
Where did you see that as an issue for him?
He said he started alcohol.
Marijuana.
There's marijuana and
Then
Percocet.
moved on to heroin.
Yeah.
I think we could leave that for them to use as
Okay,
a
then they
benchmark.
move on to heroin. That's what they do.
So in the matter of Anthony Clemens, inmate number 139105, there's motion to deny parole for the following reasons: his criminal history, the nature and circumstances of his current offense, the offense being committed while he was already on probation, and for institutional adjustment. I further move to set the following conditions for his 8 years of special parole supervision. He's to have a mental health evaluation and engage in treatment as deemed necessary. He's to participate in behavior management for anger management. He's to be placed in a halfway house. No contact with his co-defendant, Lamar Howell, and no contact with the victims of his crime, initials AA, JA, and CT. Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
This concludes the hearing for Anthony Clemens, number 139105. Mr. Gonzalez, we'll be right with you, okay?
all right.
Well, that just cost him. His full term date is November 30th, 2026, and he is going to have to do the full time and literally the ability to control his temper. And hey, I guess give him credit. He came right out of the bat saying that that's his problem. That's what he needs to work on. And it just cost him a year of his life, and he might not find out until he gets his paperwork, because they were literally, we've seen it. All he would have had to have done is taken the programs. He might even have been able to get a write-up or two, because we've seen them get write-up or two and still get paroled, because the Connecticut board will come up with some type of reason that, we want him on supervision or something. But Miss Chance, so it was Chance, Turner, and the new board member Sisowski, what is his name? And you know, if it was a different board member, they might have been able to talk Turner out of it, because Chance was like, yeah, we'll give him another. Turner's like, no, he just said no. And the former cop said no as well. And, you know, it's going to take some time to get to know him. But I would assume that he's tougher than many of the others. I don't know if he replaced anyone, or I think they always had a vacancy and he filled the spot. So yeah, I put up his resume there. He was a lieutenant for 20 years, and during his career assigned as a patrol division and vice and intelligence division, and also detective division. He was a statewide narcotics task force and police activity league. But this, you know, it's interesting, because of course, if you can't control yourself in the boardroom, you're going to get up and storm out. You're not going to be successful out in the street. It's like, and you saw him shaking. You saw what I thought was, and it's to his credit, he went, he called it out himself. Now we could talk about the crime, and he got a 12-year sentence for this home invasion. And in Connecticut, they take home invasions more seriously than other states, and it's one of the crimes that they take more seriously than even murder. We see people, or attempted murder. I mean, we had someone come up the other day who shot someone 3 times in the stomach, and he got 3 years, 1 year for each bullet. And he was a multi repeat, you know, an habitual offender. I mean, it doesn't make any sense how that happened. But in Connecticut, so the reason they take it so seriously, and it always gives me the chills even pulling this up, was this just the most horrifying home invasion that happened. It's called the Cheshire Murders. One of the parole board members actually said, when they brought it up, they don't even mention the name of it. It's like I'm saying Voldemort. But July 23rd, 2007, I don't like reading this. 2 home intruders entered the home of the Petite family. They initially planned to burglarize the house, but went on to murder Jennifer and her 2 daughters, and 17-year-old Haley Petite and 11-year-old Michelle, and their father, Dr. William, managed to escape despite sustaining severe injuries. And of course, they didn't just do that. They tied them up, and they, you know, it was just a night of torture. And since then, the people of Connecticut, of course, made a, rightfully so. And so they passed laws basically saying making home invasions like one of the worst things you can do in Connecticut. I bring this up because, again, it goes to show when people do become outraged, and when there's a public outcry, and all of a sudden the politicians say, oh, wow, yeah, the people are paying attention, you can change laws. And it is interesting that we can continue to see where there is the worst done to children, SA, parents doing it, biological, and there's probation, and there's small sentences, and we get up and we rage about it on YouTube. I think the public would rage about it if they knew about it, but they don't, and don't know about it, and it stays in the small corners of whatever. And that's why the laws aren't strict. But eventually, I do think people will, through YouTube, realize how broken the system is, and the laws, I do think, will eventually rightfully become more stringent. It's happening slowly with other things like CP and solicitation to children. Like, you see that, and that's because of people like Chris Hansen, and of course many of the YouTube vigilantes, whatever you want to call them. So hopefully this can make a difference. And I say it not with head in the sky type of thing. I think eventually maybe it can. Now, what they did, and thank you, Sir Richard, for the information, is that I guess I can pull this article. I always get nervous pulling articles because if there's like a piece of info, like the list and address and and then YouTube will know. So I'll just read it to you. Police have arrested 2 men accused of forcing their way into a Bridgeport home and stealing money, a flat screen TV, and belongings. I remember this happened in 2014. According to police, 47-year-old Anthony, his alias is Batman, Clemens, and his 21-year-old counterpart showed up to the house, knocked on the door at 1:45 a.m. I mean, who opens their door at 1:45 a.m.? The victims told police they opened the door and the suspects pushed their way in, demanding money. Police arrived at the scene to find the resident standing outside, pointing and yelling. One of the suspects jumped a fence and ran up to a nearby home, banging on the door to get in. Officers detained him. Oh, he's running away and he ran to nearby home to get in. That's funny. Officers, they caught him quick, huh? Officers detained him, the man who opened the door. They were identified. Police said that they searched the house and found the stolen TV and a clear mask that matched the one worn during the robbery. One of the victims told police he was familiar with Clemens, and the third suspect was also involved, according to police. Both Clemens were charged with home invasion, first-degree burglary, conspiracy, first-degree robbery, and fourth-degree larceny. And listen to this, and Sir Richard pointed this out in the notes, and he has a really good point. But again, I think it goes to, I don't know what it goes to, but they said that Clemens was also charged with third-degree sexual assault because one of the victims' pants came down when he tugged on them, demanding money. Now, obviously, they didn't keep that charge, and Sir Richard has in the notes. A good thing they didn't keep the charge because it takes away from those who are actually sexually assaulted. So I'm in agreement with that. You know, don't just throw charges out there for the sake of throwing charges out there. It doesn't benefit anyone. But, you know, and again, it could have come down to the Cheshire things, or it just comes down to sometimes they like to throw charges because they know that DAs are going to take a bunch away anyways. But so he cost himself because he was unable to control himself. And like I was saying at the beginning, the first woman who showed up, she was about to jump out. So maybe it was a good thing that she didn't. And, you know, we have seen Connecticut board members not be so strict and let it go. I'm happy to see that they actually did put their foot down because you gotta. And with that, I'll let you go.
He put me until I got to the jail.
But
They
where?
searched me.
But where?
In my bra. In my bra.
Wait
right
a
here.
minute. Are you really you're gonna sit here and tell us that someone put Suboxone, fentanyl, and crack cocaine in your purse and bra and you didn't know it?
Yeah. Why would I lie? Anything I've ever done in my life, I've always taken responsibility for.